Hello, this is Cho of the Shiny Colors Discord. Welcome to another episode of The Shiny Review. Today we have two cards to talk about, a new Produce SSR for Chiyuki, and Support SR for Toru. Remember that Chiyuki is permanent, so she will be added to banners later on, as well as SR and SSR tickets in the very near future once the banner is over, if you are considering it. The banner is kind of rough, I would say, so I wouldn't worry about it too much unless you're a really big fan of Chiyuki. So starting things off, we have Chiyuki. Giving us reprieve from the onslaught of limited banners, we have Chiyuki all by herself to round out February. She's a dance vocal unit who is notable for packing a fair amount of healing into her kit. She not only heals you immediately upon using either of her appeals, but also applies health regen, otherwise known as relax, for several turns afterwards. If you've ever needed a dedicated healer, Chiyuki is pretty well suited for this, for the most part. What does make this a bit complicated is that there are better healers out there if that's all you really care about. That of course also depends on where you feel you need Chiyuki the most. It's safe to say that she's geared more towards fast tours, considering her release timing, so it's best to think about using her in that mode where your healing can go that much further than in Fest immediately. She can boost Alstroemeria memory, which is neat, and she's also a fairly capable center. Her roles are center, maybe, a healer, and she has a specific memory gauge boost. I would still put this on the lower recommendations just because I don't think her power spike is that huge, and she is a permanent, so she will be around forever. Chiyuki's initial skill is a Dance 3.0 appeal that applies an immediate mental 5% heal, that then applies a mental 3% regen for 3 turns, and links into a Dance 1.5 appeal. The 3-star skill is a Vocal 4.5 appeal that applies an immediate mental 10% heal, and a mental 3% regen for 4 turns, that links into a Vocal 1.5 appeal. Her 1-star passive is a Memory Gauge 20% boost as long as you have the full Alstroemeria lineup on stage, which has a 30% chance to activate once. Her 2-star passive is a Vocal Dance 75% up that requires your mental to be 90% or higher, and the turn count to be 3 or later, which has a 20% chance to activate twice. The second passive is a Dance 40% up that requires the turn count to be 3 or later, and has a 20% chance to activate twice, and also unlocks a Dance plus 50 uncap. Her 3-star uncap is a combined Vocal Dance plus 100, and her 4-star uncap is a Vocal plus 150. Her memory appeal when maxed out is a mental 30% heal that links into a Vocal 0.8 to 5.0 appeal, scaling based on how high your current mental is. For the support recommendations, I'm not a particularly good judge of Alstroemeria as it currently stands, but it's fairly safe to say that Daikichi gaming is still in full effect here if you go for dance. You can also utilize Shinobi Amana if you opt for dance, but there's plenty of vocal supports to work with as well. Surely I'm forgetting at least a couple cards, and there may even be a Tenka that works really well for this setup, but these are just like some general picks. It's also not too surprising that there are plenty of great dance options, especially with recent releases like Toru and of course Kogane. Vocal has their strong points as well, so in reality it all comes down to which you'd rather build with Chiyuki, as either are potentially valid. For the team recommendations, I've only got one today, and that's Vocal Alstroemeria with Chiyuki 7 at the helm. Tenka doesn't have a particularly amazing card for Vocal currently, which is why I would not be surprised if we see Tenka 7, or possibly 8, be a pure Vocal card to help exemplify Chiyuki. Heal, stay healthy, deal damage, and then swing on turn 3 with a big memory appeal and as many passives as you can. For Dance Alstroemeria, the main reason I don't really include it is because Chiyuki 6 is too important to the build, so replacing Chiyuki 6 makes Dance Alstroemeria kind of fall apart at the seams. So, not the greatest recommendation. On to the grades. Chiyuki as a center I think is anywhere from a B+ to an A-. I feel this memory appeal is overall fine, but arguably situational of course. Vocal Alstroemeria are not in their prime, so there's much less incentive to focus specifically on this stat when dance is right there. The healing is hit or miss, which considering how much Alstroemeria can heal already, might not serve a ton of purpose depending on the circumstances. The link appeal is a great source of damage, so it's your call ultimately. Very solid as a center, I would say. As a unit, she gets a B+. Chiyuki is a fairly average-looking unit when you peel things back a bit. She doesn't hit particularly hard, her healing is her main calling card outside of her Alstro-specific memory gauge boosting. The positive is that there's no real competition for Chiyuki cards in Vocal Alstro currently, as Visual and Dance are fairly occupied as it stands. Chiyuki 3 versus Chiyuki 7 is not exactly a difficult race to win for 7, thanks to the age gap, and ultimately it feels like we need a much better Tenka card to make this Chiyuki shine even brighter. And of course we have Toru. This time our event SR is Toru, who has one unique quirk compared to every other SR we've been getting over the last couple months. Toru has access to Dance Mastery Limit, which for those unfamiliar means that as long as Toru is in the dance room and she's at least level 10 where the skill unlocks or improves at level 60, she will increase your maximum dance stat by 2 or 4 in that aforementioned level 60 or higher situation. And this also doubles if you get a perfect while she's in the room, so +4 or +8. Outside of this, she's very run-of-the-mill, though a weaker version of the limited SSR Toru type of buff on her appeal is neat to see. While she's not crazy, this is honestly a really good step for SRs, and it's something I've been asking for a while, having cards that allow us to somewhat simulate the effects of limited cards. So that way these cards could be used as a kind of like testing grounds for future fest abilities, or not fest abilities, but limited abilities, is what I would like to say. I don't know if that'll ever actually happen. It feels like they just love to debut things on limited cards and sort of just hope that it works out really well, and it either is way too good or really bad. So, I don't know, but maybe Toru is a step in a good direction, if not just a little too late. We'll see. Toru's 1-star passive is a dance 12% up that requires you to be in the dance position, and this has a 30% chance to activate once. Her 2-star passive is a dance 20% up that requires the turn count to be 3 or earlier, and has a 30% chance to activate once. Her 3-star uncap is a dance +50, and her 4-star appeal is a dance 2.3 appeal that has a somewhat unique effect. It's a dance 35% buff when you take damage, and the buff itself lasts for 3 turns. This effect has to be initiated by being hit. You can't take poison damage for it to activate, and you have 3 turns to be hit in order to activate this buff, which can only be stacked once. So that's why the wording on it here looks a little odd. Her event passive is a dance 8% up that requires Toru on your team, and it has a 30% chance to activate twice. Toru gets a C-. Outside of her masteries, incredibly whatever. While it's neat that Toru continues what we saw with Nocchill not too long ago, and that she gets buffed specifically for being hit, the value is still a bit too low to make proper use of. It'll certainly be a help for beginner players, assuming one can climb enough Infest Tours to at least get 1 copy of her, and then maybe use Hazuki's to upgrade her to 4-star, or you happen to have a strong enough team that can get you the max number of copies. Otherwise, I honestly think this is just to help fill in Toru's overall lack of SRs. But the limit up is pretty cool, however, and you might as well farm for Toru while she's here. And that will do it for the video today. Thank you so much, as always, for watching. I know this one's a little short. Hopefully you've been doing well in Fest Tours, or have been rounding out the Hokura event, which we have another one coming up, and I'm very concerned, because it's most likely a limited Hokura card, which is now their 3rd out of 3 for this year. Not looking forward to it, but we'll see what happens. So, till the next video, I've been Sho. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day.